The following clip was recorded by a man named Nate, and if you're not new here, you probably know Nate and the unsettling events inside his home. Incidents that range from sharp objects suddenly flying across his kitchen to waking up in the morning with unexplained marks on his body that he has absolutely no memory of getting. What makes his case especially disturbing is that many of these events haven't just happened in the middle of the night when people might blame exhaustion or imagination. Several of them have taken place in broad daylight while he's fully awake and recording. But this particular incident happened late at night. Watch.
This entity or whatever, this ghost, whatever's in my home, spirit, sure is making a hell of a lot of noise tonight. I was upstairs, just getting ready for bed. So I gotta be up at like 3:30 in the morning, 3:30, and it sounded like a friggin' herd of elephants down here. It was insane. Front door's locked. Back door's locked. That was insane. What the f was that? See what I mean? It sounds like a herd of elephants. Holy shit. Okay. I could have swore that was shut. I could have swore that was shut. I tripping or what?
In the video, Nate suddenly hears extremely heavy stomping coming from the floor above him, loud enough that it sounds like someone deliberately walking around upstairs. Except he's completely alone in the house. Some viewers believe the sound could point to a presence that's been following Nate through several of his recordings, possibly the same unseen force responsible for the violent activity in his kitchen. In paranormal discussions, heavy footsteps like these are sometimes associated with residual hauntings, where energy from past occupants seems to replay itself in certain areas of a house, almost like echoes trapped within the structure. But the next thing Nate captured made things more terrifying. The next time he recorded something unusual was during the daytime while he was working out. Have a look.
So I was just working out and saw a black mass or shadow dart across, like from the landing of those stairs that way, and then went around that corner towards the basement. I didn't hear any steps. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. I was facing this way, lifting right here, and just saw it out of the corner of my left eye. This way. Hello? That door's locked. So is he? I swear sometimes it's more active in the daytime. Hello?
As Nate walks toward the basement stairs and says, "Hello," a quiet voice responds back with what sounds like, "Hey, you." It's faint, but once you hear it, it's hard to ignore. This isn't the first time viewers have picked up on that soft voice in Nate's videos. Some people believe it sounds like a child, which could explain the chaotic scattering of objects in the kitchen, almost like someone small playing with things when no one's looking. Others argue the tone sounds more like a woman's voice, possibly the spirit of a former resident still lingering inside the house. But when you remember the marks Nate has woken up with on multiple occasions, marks that look far more aggressive than playful, Many viewers start reconsidering those theories, because if something in that house is capable of leaving physical marks, then it might not be as harmless as it sounds. Another night, Nate was lying in bed when he suddenly heard the unmistakable sound of someone running downstairs. Concerned that someone might have broken into the house, he went down to check. That's when this happened.
Alright guys, I just heard running coming from down here. I was upstairs laying in bed and I heard a sound like somebody sprinted. What the fuck? Sounded like somebody sprinted from the front door through the kitchen. The front door's locked. My doorbell camera didn't go off, so nobody came in. My dad was moving when I came down. That's weird. There's nobody fucking down here. Like, nobody down here. Nobody here. Check the back door. Locked. Locked. Like, what the hell? How do you explain that? I need to get out of this house. We got twins on the way. We'll be here in September. Not gonna raise them in this house. What's this going on? It's still moving somewhere too. Freezing down here too. Freezing. Ooh. That just slid towards me. Fucked up.
When he reaches the bottom of the stairs, the house appears completely empty. No intruder, no open doors, nothing out of place. But if you listen carefully, that same faint voice can once again be heard somewhere in the background. And although it's difficult to make out exactly what was said, viewers have been debating it ever since. Some swear the voice says, "Leave here." Others believe it says, "We're here." What did you hear? In this next clip, paranormal investigators continue their investigation inside the house that once belonged to an elderly couple who passed away years ago, leaving the property completely abandoned. Since then, several people have tried moving in, but according to local accounts, when families come to check out the place, they all describe the same unsettling pattern. Quiet knocks echoing through empty rooms, objects shifting or falling without anyone near them, and a strange, heavy feeling in the air that made the entire house feel uncomfortable to stay in. During this investigation, the team decided to go live while exploring the house, and it didn't take long before something happened. Watch this.
Ce să, frate, să filmez ușa asta? Ce să filmez? Na, uite! O da rempotul, o arunca rempotul jos. Mi-au zis oamenii să iau rempotul, frate, uite, o arunca rempotul jos. Uite, frate, o arunca rempotul jos, ați văzut? Uitați aparatul. Uite! Uite cum i-a aruncat la picioarea mea. Uite, uite antena, unde e antena.
Băi, da,
Da? Na! Uite! O da rempotul, o arunca rempotul jos.
Out of nowhere, a remote control is suddenly thrown across the room, knocking over the device they had set up to communicate with whatever spirit might be present in the house. Still trying to figure out what could have caused it, the investigators continue searching through the house. As they move from room to room, they begin finding old photographs of the elderly couple from when they were younger. Pictures that suggest the home once held decades of memories before everything suddenly stopped. But they didn't get far into their search before something else happened. Almost as if whatever was inside the house was becoming aware that they're going through its belongings. Watch this.
Citești de gradient.
Aici ai poze cu cineva mort. Nu știu dacă știți. Da? Aici, unde e degetul meu, e cineva mort. E domnul Petrică, cum așa îi zicea. Unde zboară vulturii, porumbei nu au loc.
Vulturii pleșuvi.
O, hai de mine, nu am caz. Na, mai zi ceva, frate. Na, mai zi ceva, că abia l-am scos și nebunesc. Dacă nu mă duc la Socola, la Bălăceanca cu casa asta...
La mine cred că a fost frică.
Dacă nu mă duc la Bălăceanca cu casa asta, nu mai gata.
Vorbește cu Petrică. Nu mort, măi, stai, oameni, în masă de revelion. Deci la masa de revelion.
Cazare, aruncă cu întârziere, auzi. Ia. Bă! Dă-i tare! Dă-te din rază, auzi, gata, mă dau. Deschide-l, ce să deschid? Sertarul, deschide-l tu. Hai de mine, ia!
Pentru aceasta îndrăznind aler la milostiv.
As one investigator opens a drawer, another drawer right beside it slides open on its own, even though no one touches it. Moments like this are often linked to what paranormal researchers call intelligent hauntings, situations where the activity doesn't appear random, but instead reacts directly to the people inside the house, almost as if something is responding to what the investigators are doing. Some believe the spirit of the former homeowners may still be lingering in the place they spent their lives in, unwilling to let strangers dig through their memories. Others think it could be something darker entirely, something that simply attached itself to the empty house after it was abandoned. Whatever the truth is, moments like these leave investigators with more questions than answers. The woman in this next video says she hasn't slept properly in weeks, not because she wants to stay awake, but because almost every night, something in her house gives her a reason not to. It started quietly at first, the kind of small things people try to ignore. One night, she woke up to the sound of something lightly scattering across the floor, like small objects being brushed aside, and then moments later, she heard a voice softly calling her name from somewhere in the room. At that point, there wasn't enough evidence to draw any solid conclusions, but people had plenty of theories. Some believed it could be an intruder hiding somewhere inside the house, while others immediately began pointing towards something far darker, a skinwalker. In folklore and modern urban legends, skinwalkers are often described as entities that can mimic human voices, call people by name, and slowly lure their targets into responding. The voice usually comes first, long before the creature shows itself, and the next video she uploaded confirmed this. Watch closely.
But yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, I'll see if you can come over in a bit. You should bring your dog. Your dog's really, really big and cute. Nope. Mom? Mom?
This time it wasn't a voice. If you look closely, a face appears from inside the wardrobe, barely visible at first, almost like something peeking from the darkness before quickly pulling back again. According to her, she's tried several small protective steps she found online, from cleansing the room to keeping the closet sealed at night, but nothing has completely stopped the activity. And what makes the situation even more unsettling is the location of where it keeps appearing. Wardrobes and closets are often described as liminal spaces, places that exist between open rooms and hidden darkness, areas where something could remain unseen while still watching everything around it. For a few days, the appearances stopped, which gave her hope that whatever it was had finally gone away, but then it returned.
Fuck no, bro.
After sending the footage to a paranormal investigator, she was strongly advised not to open the closet again until a full investigation can be done. For now, she's left the house entirely and is staying with a friend. So, what do you think? Is this really a skinwalker? Or is there something else hiding inside that wardrobe? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Now, this next video was recorded by a CCTV camera at a man's workplace, and for months he had been telling his colleagues that strange things keep happening. He meets items slightly out of place in the morning, faint tapping sounds coming from the aisles after closing time, and even the feeling that someone was standing behind him whenever he worked near the refrigerators. At first, his coworkers laughed it off, assuming he was simply tired from working long hours at night. But when they finally decided to review the security footage together, they realized he might not have been imagining anything after all. Take a look.
I was doing the till this morning. Look at that.
Oh, what?
Right there. No, wait, it gets better. It gets better. That's not it. It gets better. Look up here.
What is that?
Right there.
Oh,
yeah.
what?
Are you serious, bro? Yep. Remember the bar this morning, Susie?
Yes.
I showed you that demon rabbit from hell? No, wait. Look. Is that a face right there, guys? No, look. Oh my God! Just move! Just move!
It literally.
Watch it. Get your eyes on it. See?
Ew.
See? I told you.
Dude, that's scary.
I
It's
know,
literally
right?
gone.
I think it's pretty cool, actually.
In the footage, things open and move, even though there's no one nearby to touch it. And the most unsettling thing that's even harder to explain, what appears to be the outline of a face forming briefly on the reflective surface of the refrigerator door. Some people suggested it could be something simple, a loose latch, air pressure shifting inside the store, or reflections creating shapes that look like faces when the lighting changes. But others weren't convinced, especially because the movement on the shelf seemed far too controlled to be caused by wind alone. It looked more like a car trying to grab a snack, only that no cat or rat was visible in the video. Moments like this are sometimes associated with poltergeist activity, a type of phenomenon often linked to unseen forces manipulating objects, creating knocks, or moving things in subtle but deliberate ways. Whether this was a strange coincidence, a trick of the camera, or something far more unsettling quietly moving through the store after hours, for now this one remains a mystery. This next clip is an update from the family that once opened their door after weeks of strange knocking. The same family whose life changed from odd disturbances to full-blown haunting. Now, just when they thought things might calm down, the activity has escalated, and it's getting worse, especially around the kitchen. Watch.
Padre Santo. Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase tu voluntad así en la tierra como en el cielo.
This isn't the soft, tentative knocking of before. This is aggressive, hard, demanding. It rattles the door's frame. It shakes the house. It doesn't stop after one or two knocks. It repeats, builds, as though whatever's on the other side has run out of patience and is desperate to get in. That alone raises a chilling question. They once opened the door, and after that, chaos followed. So why is there knocking again? Some believe when a spirit becomes comfortable with a house, it doesn't stay alone. It invites others. And those other presences tend to be far less patient, far more dangerous. With this kind of knocking, the thing behind the door could be far worse than what first showed up. Opening it may no longer just let in a curious specter, but something malevolent, something hungry. As desperate as this family must be, at this point, opening the door isn't an option. Not until they have a plan or someone powerful enough to handle what might come through. If you were them, what would you do now? Change house? Set up protection? Call professionals? Whatever their next move is, one thing is certain. What's behind that door may be beyond anything they've seen before, and until we get more footage, more answers, or some clarity, this remains a mystery. This next clip is also an update from a previous investigation where a team of ghost hunters explored an old property that once belonged to an elderly couple who passed away, leaving the home abandoned for years. For days they've been at the house, documenting everything from soft knocks echoing through the hallway to objects subtly shifting whenever no one was looking. At one point, if they reached out to pick something up, no matter whether it was a notebook, a candle, or even a cup, the table would suddenly start vibrating violently until they dropped the item, almost like the spirit was warning them, "Don't touch my things." Even then, the investigators didn't leave. They felt strongly that whatever was there wasn't aggressive, only protective. So they tried something different, something that would confirm whether a spirit was truly responding to them. Watch this.
Punem aici în geam și pe ăsta?
Da, nu știu, punem... Da, punem jos acolo.
Aici în casă?
Mai aici, în spate, la tablou. Au pisare asta, nu știu, pe ceva.
Așa?
Da, nu contează.
Dar ce vrei să fac?
Hai să vezi acum șmecherie.
Explică-mi și mie.
Deci îl lăsăm pe Nea Gheorghe aici, da? Bun. Acum. Închidem balconul. Eu am prins care-i faza, ca să știți.
Lasă-mă și merge, poate muri mai ca măcar...
Mult, dar parcă n-ai mai murit.
Da, am murit, dar nu te mai am.
Oricare spirit te află aici, oricare entitate, oricare demon, oricare strigoi, prin puterea primordială îți ordon să miști tabloul ăsta sau să-l dai jos sau...
Eu am murit, mai.
Da? Deci ceva se lega. Nu mă sperii, nu rămân surprins. Fiindcă știam, eram sigur, 90% eram sigur că o să se întâmple chestia asta.
Adică când ești amândoi în balcon faci așa?
Da, fii atent. Păi așa că-l iau. Stai așa, mă. Am luat pe Nea Gheorghe și lăsăm aici.
Și acum ce se întâmplă? Din timp murim?
Băi, oricare spirit te afla aici, oricare entitate, oricare demon, oricare suflet neliniștit, prin puterea primordială îți ordon să miști. Du-te, fă cu meciul tău, tragă meciul tău, l-o da jos să moară familia mea, l-o dau jos.
That moment was all the proof they needed, and after that, the house changed. The activity grew stronger. Watch.
Ia-l repede, ia-l.
O căzut singur. O căzut singur. Ai de pula mea. De pula mea.
Doamne, mi-am făcut cruci. Credeți-mă pe bunic, mi-am făcut cruci.
Doamne, credeți-mă, aprinde mâine asta că nu
E gata-i.
Îl ard în tămâini.
E gata-i, nu mai, e gata-i.
Îl ard în tămâini.
O dispărut, mâncați-l. Tu, măi, Nea Gheorghe, măi.
Asfidau acum, stai așa.
Oricare spirit te află aici, îți ordon să faci ceea ce faci, să faci în fața camerei. Poza e jos, mă, acolo, rămas jos.
What came next sparked a completely different debate among viewers. Have a look.
Bun, Nea Gheorghe, dacă tot ești acolo lângă păpușa aia, poți un pic să o miști sau să o faci să meargă? Deci dacă se mișcă păpușa, am plecat acasă, vă zic de pe acum. Băga mea și pula în dracu să-mi bag.
Alin,
Gata, ba pula în casa asta.
tu ești vrăjitor.
Gata, fraților, v-am bar în casa asta. Ieși afară, băga mea și pula, nică ne omoară.
The discovery of those dolls shifted the entire conversation. Many began questioning whether the spirit they'd been communicating with was truly tied to the house, or tied to the dolls themselves. In the paranormal world, dolls are known to hold attachments. Spirits sometimes cling to them, reside in them, or even use them as vessels when they can't anchor themselves anywhere else. So now, there were two theories. Either the spirit belonged to someone who once lived in the home, or the previous owners unknowingly brought home a doll that already carried an attachment. After seeing those dolls move the way they did, the team didn't need any more convincing. They packed up their equipment, left the property immediately, and made it very clear they had no intention of spending another night inside that house. Now in this next video, a guy named Kyle, who you might remember from several of our previous videos, is still dealing with the same thing that's been tormenting him for months. Knocking sounds that seem to move from room to room, always following him, always getting louder. But this time, he was finally able to trace one of those knocks directly to the basement, and he discovered something that left him more confused than ever. Take a look.
Gosh dang it, I'm hearing that knocking sound again. There it is. Where is it coming from? Right there, right there. It's coming from this door. That's where it's been coming from. Somebody's knocking on that, or something is knocking on this freaking door. But there's nobody there, obviously. Well, at least I now know where it's coming from.
Finding no one at the door, no footsteps, not even a shadow fleeing the scene, left him with only one conclusion. Whatever is knocking isn't human. And honestly, after everything Kyle has been through in that house, this shouldn't even be surprising anymore. Because remember, this is the same guy who woke up one night and caught a dark figure standing frozen inside his crawl space, unmoving, just staring straight ahead as if it had been waiting for him. The same guy who's heard children laughing in the middle of the night, even though he has no kids, seen things in his attic shift around on their own, and has documented footsteps pacing inside the walls, things falling in the garage, small objects getting pushed across the floor, and the worst one yet, his home camera once caught a figure standing quietly beside his bed while he slept, vanishing just seconds before he woke up. All these incidents, from the crawl space, to the attic, to the garage, to his bedroom, and now the basement, connect in one disturbing pattern. Whatever is in this house moves freely, watches him, and makes itself known whenever it wants to. So until Kyle drops more updates, this remains one of the hardest cases to decode. In the following video, a guy and his partner have been dealing with something extremely unsettling inside their home. For days now, they've been coming back from work to find their living room and kitchen completely out of place. Pillows on the floor, cabinets half open, small items thrown across the room, and once, an entire stack of folded laundry scattered across the hallway as if someone walked through it intentionally. One of them insisted it had to be the cat, but the other argued that it didn't make sense. The cat isn't strong enough to knock over half the things they found on the ground. So, to settle the argument once and for all, they installed cameras. Here's what the camera caught. This clearly shows the cat is innocent, but it also confirms something else entirely. The couple now has another presence in the house, one they never invited and one they don't understand. And after seeing that footage, their minds immediately shifted from who did this to what exactly are we living with and how dangerous can it be? So look closely at the clips to see if you can piece things together. Watch. After this second clip, people in the comments began forming their own theories. Many said the movement feels exactly like a child spirit, but it didn't only happen during the day. Watch this. Now, how do you explain a chair rocking on its own in the middle of the night, almost as if someone was sitting in it and pushing off the ground with their feet? That detail alone shifted the conversation. Some viewers pointed out that this kind of night activity usually means the spirit is fully comfortable, too comfortable. Others believe the chair movement ties directly to the mess during the day, suggesting the same presence is active around the clock. If it really is a child spirit, it might not even realize it's causing fear, just doing what kids do, playing, exploring, touching things that don't belong to them. But until more updates are shared, and until the couple figures out exactly what kind of presence they're dealing with, this case remains completely unsolved. Now, this next video captures something that genuinely shook a lot of viewers, because it happened while Rebecca was homeschooling her kids. Watch.
2 and 0. So it's asking you which intervals in which the Y is increasing. Select all and apply. Okay, so now we have it. So we have here to here. So the first one, -6, okay? And then we have, then it goes down, 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 up, and up. Okay, so we have -6 and 0.
At first glance, your mind wants to go with the simplest explanation, that the tree was already hanging by a thread. But according to Rebecca, the tree was still firmly attached to its base. No visible damage, no rot, nothing that looked like it was about to collapse. And then people who slowed the footage down began noticing something else. Something that made the entire situation feel way less natural. Several viewers claimed they saw a figure moving behind the tree just seconds before it began shaking on its own. So was it gravity, a rare coincidence, or something attempting to reveal itself through the only object it could manipulate? You decide. In this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visited Bonanzaville, an open-air museum filled with preserved historic structures from different eras of North Dakota. There's the old haunted tavern where staff have reported glasses clinking on their own, the mansion's said to echo footsteps long after closing, and even a small church where a shadowy figure is often seen slipping between the pews. And of course, Ian decided to walk through all of it completely alone. He started his investigation inside the old train shed, an authentic 1930s passenger coach where visitors have sworn they've seen a phantom conductor pacing the aisle. But for Ian, that night, the train shed was calm. Where things shifted was the next building he stepped into, the telephone museum. Watch.
These phones are dead. They're not even on. I'm not even sure if you'd even be able to make calls with it right now. Could you move this? The rotary dial? Whoa, what the? Dude, that was a freaking straight up phone ringing in that room. Holy crap, that scared me. Did you just make one of the phones ring in that room? was coming from that room over there. Oh, God. Well, suppose. Let's go answer.
This museum has a long, unsettling history. Staff say the phones inside often ring on their own, connecting to other historical buildings across the property. But whenever someone picks up, it's only dead air. Others have reported seeing a ghostly woman drift through the aisles, appearing and disappearing between the old switchboards. So Ian, being Ian, decided to answer one of the ringing phones himself. Watch what happened.
Hello? Could you speak through this phone? Who called that phone earlier? Put my voice recorder up to it.
A faint whisper came through his recorder, and Ian couldn't tell whether the voice came through the phone or from somewhere else inside the room. Listen again. Some say the voice sounds like it's trying to speak directly to him. Others think it's the woman people claim to see in the building, but whether it's tied to the museum, the phones, or something else entirely, one thing is clear. Whatever haunts that building knew he was there. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by a woman named Rosanna, who had started noticing something unsettling about a doll in her home. Still, she brushed it off, convincing herself it was just her imagination, especially since she usually noticed it shortly after taking her medication. She told herself she was probably seeing things, but to put her mind at ease, Rosanna decided to record the doll on her phone, planning to review the footage the next day to finally confirm whether anything strange was really happening. Take a look.
C'est quoi? Oh non. Le carton qui est là-bas, là, oh, je sais même plus parler. C'est une poupée. C'est des poupées. Et je vous assure, j'en ai vu une courir. Je sais pas laquelle. Et il faut que je descende à la cave. Mais là, c'est la nuit. J'ai pas envie de croiser la vieille. C'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est pas vrai. C'est trop.
If you watch closely, the doll had a straight face when she first picked it up, but moments later, its face seems to change, almost as if it's smiling. When Rosanna reviewed the footage the next day, the realization hit her hard, and whatever she captured didn't feel imagined anymore, so she destroyed the doll herself, believing that would end it. But many people weren't convinced it was over. Some warned that destroying an object tied to strange activity doesn't always stop it, and in some cases, it can make things worse. We can only hope that isn't the case here. The guy in this next video has been having trouble sleeping for weeks now. Every single night, right around 1 a.m., someone comes to his door and starts knocking. Not just a quick knock, but slow, deliberate taps that last long enough to make his heart race. Knowing what people say about opening doors at strange hours, he stays in his room, frozen, whispering protective words and trying not to make a sound. But on this particular night, his fear gets the better of him. With his phone in hand, shaking, he starts recording, hoping to at least have proof of what's been happening. Watch closely.
No sé qué pasa, boludo. Estoy en mi pieza queriendo dormir, boludo, y me toca la puerta toda la noche, amigo. Son como las 1 de la mañana. No hay nada. No, amigo, ¿qué mierda es eso, boludo? ¿Qué mierda sos, la concha de tu madre? Boludo, no. Amigo, no hay nadie, boludo. No. De hoy se está escuchando esa mierda. ¿Qué? No, boludo, no. No. Encima abro acá la ventana, boludo. No hay nadie, amigo. O sea, no hay chance que que haya salido alguien por acá, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, amigo, de nuevo esto. Pero qué mierda, boludo. No, enloquecer, boludo.
This time, it isn't just the knocking. And what scares him the most is that he's ever opened the door. So how could anything get inside? Some believe whatever was knocking didn't need the door at all. Others think repeated attention may have weakened whatever boundary was protecting him. And then there are those who say the knocking was never about getting in. It was about letting itself be noticed. Until more updates are shared, this one remains a chilling mystery. Now, in this next clip, a woman named Simone shares what she says has been slowly haunting her home. At first, it's just a shadow, appearing briefly, then disappearing, always in the same areas of the house. But over time, things escalate. She starts hearing voices calling her name, some sounding exactly like loved ones who've passed away, others mimicking people who are still very much alive but nowhere near her. She also started hearing knocks and started having vivid, intense, and terrifying dreams, where something seems to chase her night after night. Feeling dismissed by everyone she confides in, Simone finally begins recording what's happening. Watch closely.
It's back again. It's back again tonight. Who is it? What do you want? I know you guys think it's a prank or something, but it's not. It's not. Something else is here.
What makes this especially disturbing is that whatever's in the house can now open doors on its own, and in many cases that's seen as a turning point, when activity shifts from passive to intentional. Some believe this kind of escalation can lead to constant oppression, sleep deprivation, emotional breakdowns, or even physical harm if left unchecked. Many suggest cleansing rituals, professional spiritual help, or removing anything that could be acting as a trigger. But others warn that the wrong advice, especially attempts at direct communication, can make things far worse. So what should Simone do? And what should she avoid at all costs? On the 26th of December 2025, this is what a family's security camera captured. Watch closely.
Voy a bajar, ¿sabes? Voy a bajar, a ver, mira cómo se... Oye, se escuchan como voces. Ya sé, tú, voy a bajar. Sí. Oigan, se escucha... Se está escuchando mucho ruido. Miren cómo se está moviendo el sillón. Todo eso en la cocina, se escucha ruido en la cocina. Uy. Se están accionando las cosas. Oiga.
creo que ya las cosas hay que dejarlas así. Y es lo normal, amigos. Es lo normal, la verdad. Miren. Sí, qué raro. Los aparatos eléctricos, amigos, se vuelven locos.
Items move without anyone touching them. Strange, unexplained noises echo through the house, and electrical appliances have been malfunctioning. To many who believe in the paranormal, these signs are often connected. When the man finally goes downstairs to check what's going on, the most unsettling detail reveals itself. The rocking chair is still moving on its own. No one is near it, no breeze, no explanation, and the fact that it doesn't stop suggests whatever caused it wasn't afraid of being seen or caught on camera. So is this a spirit feeding off the home's energy or something else entirely? You decide. This next clip is about a man who thought he had finally solved the nightmare inside his home. For weeks, strange things had been happening, objects shifting when no one was near them, faint noises echoing through empty rooms, and an unsettling feeling that he was never truly alone. Eventually, his attention kept returning to one thing, a doll he had brought into the house not long before everything started. Convinced it was the source of the activity, he got rid of it, but the activity didn't stop. In fact, it seemed to get worse. Watch closely.
¿Qué onda, raza? Otra vez está escuchando que le están pegando allá afuera. Vamos a ver qué rollo. Ya tiene una semana que no pasaba esto, pero otra vez escuchó que le están pegando allá al tanque de gas. Vamos a ver qué. Ese tanque de gas es el que le pegan. Pero no. Ya tenía una semana que no pasaba. Cerrar la puerta porque está canijo. Guachen, raza. Sí, guachen, raza. No hay nada, raza. Está saliendo de control esto. Ya tiene una semana que no pasaba nada, raza.
Many believe this happens when an object doesn't contain the entity. It simply attracts it. Once whatever was drawn in becomes attached to the house or the person, removing the object does nothing. Others suggest something darker, that the doll wasn't the cause at all, just a distraction, while something else in the home had already taken hold. And if that's true, then getting rid of the doll may have only removed the warning sign. Whether this is lingering attachment, misdirection, or something far worse, one thing is clear. Whatever is in that house never left. And for now, this remains a mystery. Now, in this next video, footage captured on August 14th, 2018, inside the Watts house in Frederick, Colorado, just one day after Christopher Lee Watts ended the life of his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their two daughters, Bella, who was just 4 years, and Celeste, who was 3 years. While investigators were inside the home, documenting the scene and searching through the house, this happened. Watch closely.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What in the world is that? Wow. Go in there and step on that little blue thing and see if that's where that noise came.
Yeah, it sounded like a kid toy.
It might. It sort of sounds like it.
Something. I heard it.
That one, did you hear it?
I did.
Sounded like a kid giggling or something, didn't it? Or a kid.
It did.
Where did that come from? Because all he did was go straight in there. That was strange. Well, we'll make a note of that.
I heard it. definitely heard the same thing you did.
Yeah, and then he just sort of turned around and looked.
The investigators pause, clearly confused, and try to locate where the sound came from. What makes this even more disturbing is the timing. The house had only just become a crime scene. Emotions were still heavy in the air, and many believe places where extreme trauma occurs can hold on to energy, especially when lives are taken violently and suddenly. Skeptics argue it may have been a mechanical noise or audio distortion, but those who've watched the clip closely say it sounds eerily human. Until more explanations surface, this moment inside the Watts house remains one of the most chilling and heavily debated pieces of footage tied to the case. In the following video, a guy staying at his parents' house for the holidays is up late watching Stranger Things when he starts hearing knocking sounds coming from outside. At first, he brushes it off because the house is surrounded by woods, the wind is strong, and the nearest neighbor is nearly a quarter-mile away, so it feels easy to explain. But then something else happens. A bottle sitting right next to him, one he'd been using as a spitter, suddenly starts vibrating on its own. Instead of ignoring it, he opens Snapchat and leaves it recording, hoping to catch either the knocking again or the bottle moving so he can send it to his brother. Watch closely.
What the?
The next morning, he shows the video to his parents, and that's when an unsettling detail finally comes out. His father admits that during the open house 3 years earlier, he saw a shadow move across the wall beneath a skylight. He never told anyone because he wanted the property badly and didn't want to scare his wife away from buying it, so he kept it quiet. Now, people are connecting the dots. Some believe whatever his father saw back then never left, only stayed dormant until someone noticed it again. Others think the shadow, the knocking, and the vibrating bottle point to something reacting to attention, something that becomes more active once acknowledged. And with the house sitting isolated in the woods, many wonder how long this presence has really been there, and whether it's only just beginning to make itself known. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian heads out on another solo investigation, this time to the infamous Squirrel Cage Jail, officially known as the Pottawatomie County Jail in Iowa. Built back in 1885, the jail operated for 84 years before shutting down in 1969 due to serious safety concerns. The rotating cell mechanism was known to jam, sometimes trapping inmates inside for hours, and over the years, many believe it trapped something else too. The jail once housed serial killer Jake Bird, whose spirit is often said to still linger within the building, but that's not who Ian is focused on tonight. After arriving, Ian makes his way to one specific cell, one that belonged to an inmate named Harry, who died while incarcerated here. Harry was known for an extreme habit, reportedly smoking anywhere from 150 to 200 cigarettes a day. Watch closely.
Harry, are you here with me? Make a sound if you're in here. Whoa. Thank you. I just heard that. That was like a knock on the wall. Harry, if you knocked on this wall, or one of these walls, could you do it again? Okay, he is definitely in here.
Later, as Ian begins taking photos inside the cell, he notices something unsettling.
It's kind of weird. Some of my photos are turning out really hazy looking. That's so weird. I don't know what that's about. Is that you I'm seeing, Harry? I'm getting like these hazy photos. It looks like there's like a fog in here. Well, that one's completely clear. Where'd it go? Harry, you lighting up a cigarette in here? It almost looks like smoke in here. Yeah, that's weird. It's like gone now.
It almost looks as if Harry never really left. So was this just a trick of light? Or did Ian momentarily step into a moment from the past that never moved on? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by Sarah, a woman who spends her time traveling from place to place, exploring abandoned and reportedly haunted buildings. She doesn't just walk in for thrills, she researches the history, digs into old records, and documents everything carefully. According to Sarah, her goal has always been simple: to find out whether ghosts are actually real. For a long time, she believed they weren't. Even though she's captured strange things during past investigations, she's always managed to explain them away. Drafts, old structures, animals, faulty equipment. Every time something unsettling happened, logic won. Until now. Weeks after her most recent investigation, things started happening in her own home. Growling sounds that don't belong to any animal she owns, loud bangs that echo through the house with no clear source, and then the footsteps. Heavy, deliberate sounds coming from her loft, like someone pacing back and forth. Almost every night around 1 a.m., Sarah wakes up suddenly, not from an alarm or from a dream, but from the same unmistakable sound. Watch.
I think someone's in the loft. I don't know if you're going to hear this on camera. It is currently 1:21 a.m. This has been going off for a while. This has woke me up. I really hope you can hear this. I really hope you can hear this. I've had to put a little torch on because it's absolutely pitch black. Please tell me that you can hear this. I've come out, but am I fuck going up there? Absolutely not. There's like a hatch. And nah. What the?
Those are human footsteps and definitely not a rat or any small animal. But it's not just the loft. Take a look.
I've also had presents over Christmas. The same pile of presents, ironically, keep flinging themselves over. And then in my office, I've got like greenery here. These keep moving as if someone's playing with them. The presents I actually had piled up here and they flung over. I will insert a video right now. I don't know if I can catch this on camera, but these have like been making a noise. As if they're... Oh my Jesus Christ. By the way, that actually happened twice in this office, so I made a point of moving the presents from the office into the bedroom. It happened again in the bedroom, so the next night what I did was I unstacked the presents, laid them all down in a row in the bedroom, and I woke up in the middle of the night to what sounded like somebody opening the presents. I could physically hear somebody playing with the wrapping paper. I've also been waking up in the middle of the night to noises and also growls, like a full-blown growl. And I was sending a voice note to somebody and they heard the growl on the voice note. I also have a second phone, so I'm going to leave this lying around different places, recording different areas. And I spend a lot of time in this room working, so my plan is to set up that second phone and have it continuously recording. So if something does happen or the greenery starts to move behind me or something falls off a shelf, I'm going to catch it. The question is, do you guys want me to start vlogging this daily? I'm actually quite happy just recording for my own personal sake, but if you guys want to see it, I am also very happy to vlog it and post it.
At this point, Sarah decides to stop dismissing what's happening and starts recording everything, documenting each incident as carefully as she once documented abandoned buildings. And that raises an uncomfortable possibility, one many paranormal investigators fear but rarely talk about. Sometimes it isn't about finding proof of ghosts, sometimes something finds you. Until Sarah shares more updates, what exactly is happening inside her house remains unsolved. But the idea that something may have followed her home from her last investigation is becoming harder and harder to ignore. Now, this next clip was recorded in one of the houses we've featured on this channel before. In the video, a father is playing with his young daughter inside their home when the blinds suddenly move, as if someone outside is trying to peek in. At first glance, some assumed it could be a prank or someone nearby, but the father later explained something that completely changed the situation. The blinds were touched from a height that would require someone to be at least 9 feet tall. Also, there's no balcony, no platform, no stairs, and nothing outside the house that would allow a person to reach that high. Concerned, the family didn't ignore it. The father asked his grandmother to come over and bless the room, hoping whatever it was would stop. But instead of ending, the activity moved inside the house. They began hearing unexplained bangs, objects would shift, and most alarming, their daughter started refusing to enter certain areas of the house, insisting she didn't feel safe there. Then, just after Christmas, while the mother was cleaning and putting things back in place, it happened again. Look closely at the windows. The window opens, slowly, the same way the blinds moved before, like something on the other side is trying to look in, and knowing the layout of the house, no one could reasonably say a person was outside. Now, concerns have turned into fear, because whatever this is doesn't seem affected by blessings either. The family is now searching for alternatives, unsure of what steps to take next, and worried about how much worse things could get. So, what do you think they should do? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In the following video, a guy shares what's been happening inside his house, and it all starts off in a way that feels almost harmless. On the very first day, he hears knocking coming from one of the walls and brushes it off as the house settling, maybe pipes shifting or the temperature changing. Nothing alarming enough to worry about. The second day, the sounds return, but this time it's scratching. Again, he tries to rationalize it, telling himself it could be mice in the walls or something crawling through the insulation. Still unsettling, but explainable, at least to him. But by the third day, whatever was happening stopped pretending to be subtle. Watch this.
Llegó la tercera noche que no sé si escuchan ese ruido, pero estoy solo, ¿me entiendes? Estoy solo en la pieza y estoy solo en mi casa. O sea, no, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, boludo, se acaba de mover. ¿Qué? No, miren, para que vean que abajo no hay nadie, boludo. Posta. O sea, no estoy jodiendo ni nada. O sea, te juro que no hay nadie. Estoy yo solo acá.
People in the comments start pointing out something strange in the room. The empty chair. Many believe that placing an empty chair in a room can unintentionally act like an invitation, especially when it's positioned as if someone could sit there. And facing it toward a mirror only deepens the concern. In paranormal lore, mirrors are often believed to be gateways or amplifiers, reflecting more than just what we can see. Others mention how activity often escalates like this. Subtle signs first, then louder, more deliberate disturbances once whatever is present realizes it's being ignored. And what happens next seems to support that theory. Take a look.
No sé qué pasa, boludo. Estoy en mi pieza queriendo dormir, boludo, y me tocan la puerta toda la noche, amigo. Son como las 1 de la mañana. No hay nada. No, amigo, ¿qué mierda es eso, boludo? ¿Qué mierda sos, la concha de tu madre? Boludo, no. Amigo, no hay nadie, boludo. No. Oye, se está escuchando esa mierda. ¿Qué? No, boludo, no. No. Encima abro acá la ventana, boludo. No hay nadie, amigo. O sea, no hay chance que haya salido alguien por acá, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, amigo, de nuevo esto. Pero qué mierda, boludo. No, va a enloquecer, boludo.
At this point, the knocking and scratching feel intentional, almost responsive. Now that it's reached this stage, many are asking the same question. What can actually be done when something no longer feels passive? And do you think he ignored the early signs for too long? Or was this inevitable from the moment it started knocking? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. In this next video, a man is lying in bed, relaxed and scrolling on his phone, when he suddenly hears something shift nearby. At first, he assumes it's a rat or maybe something falling over, so he instinctively turns on his camera, expecting to catch an animal darting across the floor. But that's not what happens. Watch closely.
Loco, estaba durmiendo, me acaba de levantar, loco, estoy cagado las patas. Fuera de joda me puse una alabanza, amigo. Estaba durmiendo y de ahí arriba... Mirá, boludo. No lo puedo creer. Necesito, boludo.
The object doesn't just slide or tip over. It moves in a controlled way. Another thing is, from the angle and the motion, you'd expect the bag to fall completely, but it doesn't. It's almost as if something stops it mid-movement, like an unseen hand holding it in place. That moment alone was enough to unsettle him. After posting the clip, the man explains that this wasn't an isolated incident. Watch this.
Loco, mira, 2:35 de la mañana, amigo. De vuelta este puto ropero, este pibe se me durmió, la concha, la lora. No puedo creer, loco, no puedo, te juro que no puedo dormir, mirá, loco, mirá. No te digo yo, no sea malo, loco.
For days leading up to this, strange things had been happening around his home. His door has unlocked itself multiple times, the handle slowly turning as if someone on the other side was trying to come in. He's seen shadows that don't form full bodies, just faces lingering for a split second before disappearing. And at night, the sounds make it impossible for him to sleep, like something is always moving just out of view. Some believe this could be a case of something feeding off fear, gradually escalating its presence once it knows it's being noticed. Others suggest it may be a lingering presence tied to the house itself, only becoming active at night when everything is quiet. Whether it's psychological, environmental, or something far more disturbing, one thing is clear: whatever caused this isn't stopping, and until more updates are given, this remains a mystery. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his solo investigation at the infamous Squirrel Cage Jail, officially known as the Pottawatomie County Jail in Iowa. This isn't just any abandoned jail. Built back in 1885, the structure is infamous for its rotating cage design, a mechanism that once trapped inmates inside when it jammed, leaving them locked in place for hours, sometimes days. Over the years, countless inmates suffered here, and many never left the building alive. This time, Ian heads into the old picnic area, a place inmates were once allowed brief moments of fresh air, moments that, for some, ended in tragedy. Setting up a spirit box session, Ian attempts to communicate, carefully asking questions into the silence, not fully knowing what kind of response he might provoke. Watch closely.
Whoa. That sounds like a man's voice coming through there. Could you speak again? Whoa. It's hard to make out what's being said, but I'm definitely hearing someone talking. How many spirits haunt this jail? Whoa. That sounded like you said 11. That is a lot of different spirits, if that's true. What did that say? That sounded like broken neck. Who am I speaking to? Joseph! Oh my god! It just said Joseph! No freaking way, he's the one that fell. He fell from the 3rd floor of the squirrel cage. Joseph, is that you? What were you thinking climbing that cell? Whoa! What was that? The sound came from up there. Hello? Inmate, if that's you, reach out of your cell. Oh, God. Holy crap.
What comes through immediately sends chills down his spine. Ian becomes convinced the voice responding belongs to Joseph, the inmate who reportedly fell from the 3rd floor of the squirrel cage, dying instantly on impact. What makes this even more unsettling is that the exact location where Joseph fell is completely sealed off now, inaccessible and untouched. There's no way for Ian to physically investigate the area, yet whatever answered him seems to know exactly who he is and where he's standing. Instead of leaving, Ian stays put, deciding to push further and confirm his theory. He asks direct questions, listening carefully for patterns, names, or confirmation.
Why don't you make some more noise? Oh, that came from in here. Hello? That came from in this cell. I'm hearing noises everywhere. Was it you? Of course it wasn't. There's nobody in here. This jail is really starting to amp up right now.
The responses only deepen the mystery. Whether it's Joseph reaching out, residual energy replaying a tragic moment, or something far darker using the story as a mask, Ian is no longer alone in that space, and the longer he stays, the more it feels like the jail is becoming aware of him being there. Places like the Squirrel Cage Jail aren't just abandoned buildings. They're pressure chambers of human suffering, fear, and loss. And when someone listens long enough, sometimes something listens back. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured by a man named Vishite who says his workplace hasn't felt normal for a long time. What started as small, explainable things slowly turned into something he couldn't ignore. He began noticing shadows moving where nothing should be moving. Then came the physical encounters, scratches appearing on his skin while he was alone, the feeling of being pushed when no one was behind him. For a few weeks now, he has started hearing voices and seeing shadows move where nothing should be. Watch this.
And I'm gonna go outside. Hey. I'm here. Right, so you brought what I'm talking about. Nobody's in this back room, in the cave. and I'm closing up and I heard this. Nobody's in.
See the cameras. Nobody's up in there. I think this door, the last time, there's nobody up in here. Like nobody.
Many believe this could be a mimic, something repeating his own voice back to him. Others focused on the shadow that appeared, suggesting something was physically there. Some even warned that entities known for mimicry often start with simple words, testing reactions, learning behavior, and getting closer over time. But things didn't stop there. When he posted another video, the situation became harder to explain. Watch.
Hey guys, so look, I'm hearing voices again. Yo, y'all heard that, right? Yo, man, I'm freaking out. Hello? Oh, no. No. That sounded like it was literally in my ear, dude. See, look, nobody is here. Nobody's here. Oh my god, dude, it sounded like something was behind me. Hello? Okay, I'm done with this. You need to leave. Oh my... Dude, you guys hear that, right? You guys hear it? I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping.
This time, the voice isn't subtle, it's aggressive. Words like die and you're dead are heard clearly enough to make out. Some viewers went further, suggesting it could be something far more dangerous, something like a skinwalker or even a demonic presence, especially considering his earlier experiences with being physically touched and scratched. Because when something is able to move objects, speak, and make physical contact, it suggests a level of strength and control that goes beyond imagination.
Oh, nope, I just got touched. Nope. Okay, so I'm here at work. Bro, I'm telling you, you heard that, right? I'm closing. And I'm like hearing stuff, bruh. I'm like closing right now, and I'm hearing, oh, bruh, come on, man. Nobody's in here. I'm literally closing. Yo. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it's been like really active here lately. Just wanted to show you guys. There's nobody in the store but me.
Moments like this are deeply unsettling. Imagine standing alone in a quiet building, already on edge, and suddenly feeling something touch you. Not imagining it or thinking it happened, but actually feeling it. Your brain immediately tries to rationalize it. Maybe it was your clothing, maybe your nerves. But deep down, you know when something touches you. And when it keeps happening, it changes how you exist in that space. Every corner becomes suspicious, and every shadow feels closer than it should be. At this point, viewers began warning him about something else: attention. Many believe that reacting emotionally, showing fear, or constantly focusing on whatever is happening can strengthen its presence. Some even say that fear itself can act like an invitation. But when you're alone and something speaks to you, touches you, and follows you, is staying calm even possible? Well, for Vicente, it's hard to just ignore it. After days of having the same thing happen to him at work, people advised him to confront it, and here's how that went.
Leave.
Oh. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Get out of here. Oh. Leave. Shh. Ooh, dude, I'm hearing shit. No. Okay, you just go. Just get out. Leave. Oh, God damn it. See, I got touched by that thing. I'm just letting you go. There's nobody in the store. See, I'm doing what you guys want, and then I'm hearing there's shit going on everywhere, dude. Man. Leave. You need to leave.
As he tells whatever is there to leave, something suddenly pushes him, and if something can touch you, it can reach you anytime it wants. Visite later revealed something even more unsettling. Other employees had experienced strange things too, hearing voices and feeling watched, but not as often as he has. Almost like whatever is there chose him specifically. A few weeks after his last post, things got worse.
I'm trying to lay down, and these damn lights won't stop going on and off. And I'm the only one here currently, and all my damn cabinets are open. And my remote for the lights are over there. And they just won't turn off. Yo, what the f is that?
Now, it wasn't just his workplace anymore. Cabinets he clearly remembered closing would be open, lights he turned off would turn back on, and he began hearing the same kinds of sounds inside his own home, the same presence, and the same feeling of not being alone. Many believe this could be attachment, when something connects itself to a person rather than a place. Others believe that by documenting it, speaking to it, and confronting it, he may have made himself more visible to it, reinforcing whatever connection had already begun. Because sometimes the moment something realizes you can hear it is the moment it stops hiding and starts getting closer. So what do you think Visite is really dealing with? And once something starts interacting with you like this, is it already too late to make it stop? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In this next clip, Nate is still trying to understand what's happening inside his house, and at this point, it's no longer just the occasional strange moment. For weeks now, he's been hearing footsteps when no one else is home. Heavy walking sounds moving from one room to another, doors creaking open slowly, and sometimes even faint whispers late at night when the entire house should be silent. He's woken up to things in different positions than he left them, and there are moments when his dog refuses to enter certain parts of the house, staring into empty space like it sees something he can't. You know how terrifying it is to feel like your home, the one place that's supposed to be safe, is no longer fully yours. That's exactly how Nate feels. Watch this.
I'm literally hearing walking, like right next to me, and swore I heard a muffled voice. It was like I hope the camera's picking that up. I hope my phone is picking that up. What is that?
What you're hearing doesn't sound like the house settling. It sounds like something running back and forth with muffled voices, low, unclear, but definitely there. Some believe this could be what's known as a residual haunting, energy repeating the same actions over and over. but others believe it's something far more dangerous. The disturbing part is, it didn't stop. The stomping and pacing continued for weeks. Then one morning, while Nate was working out, he heard something else.
Hey guys, I'm hoping the phone picks this up. I was working out in here stomping. Right above me. And right above me is my bedroom. I really hope the phone is picking that up. It was so loud that I actually dropped the weight. God, I hope it's picking that up. Oh my God. What is that? I'm shaking right now. I don't know what the
Toward the end of the video, a voice can be heard saying, "You need me." Some believe statements like that suggest attachment, when whatever is present no longer sees itself as separate from the person, but connected to them, dependent on them, or worse, believing the person belongs to it. And what makes that idea so disturbing is what it implies. If it's attached to him, moving might not solve anything, distance might not matter because it wouldn't be staying in the house, it would be staying with him. Entities like this sometimes create dependency. They observe, they wait, and eventually they make their presence known in a way that makes the person feel chosen, not for comfort, but for control. And now, for the first time, Nate is seriously considering leaving his home. But after hearing those words, he's no longer sure if leaving is the right thing to do, because if something inside his house truly believes he needs it, it may never let him go. If you were in Nate's position, would you stay and try to understand it, or leave, knowing it might follow? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of the most feared and talked about locations in Indiana, the Blackford County Jail, hoping to finally understand why so many unexplained incidents are still being reported there. This isn't just another abandoned building, this jail has a long and disturbing history, and many who've entered its lower levels say the basement feels different from the rest of the structure. Heavier, oppressive, like something is still occupying that space. But what makes this visit different is the specific reason Ian went down there. For years, people have reported sightings of what they describe as a little person moving in the basement. Not a shadow, not a vague shape, but something physical, small, and fast. Some believe it's the spirit of a former inmate trapped and unable to leave, but others strongly disagree. They claim what's down there isn't paranormal at all. They believe it's something alive that hides and watches. Watch.
Is there anybody down here? Well, they say that this hole is a portal that spirits can enter. If this is indeed a portal to the spirit world, could you come up out of that hole? Float upward towards me. Little person? Are you down here? Are there any prisoners down here? This is where they kept the worst of the worst. Oh!
After hearing that sound, Ian immediately freezes. It isn't the kind of noise old buildings usually make, and it doesn't sound like wood settling or pipes shifting. He stands there, listening carefully, trying to determine where it came from, but the silence that follows is almost worse. Going down there alone didn't sound like a good idea, especially knowing the stories. So instead, Ian decided to wait, hoping to catch even the slightest movement that could explain what he just heard. And then, after a while, he sees this.
Whoa, 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 what did I just see? What did I just see? I just seen something on the ground. Holy crap. It didn't look like a person though.
For a brief moment, something appears small and low to the ground. It moves quickly enough to avoid being clearly identified, but it's there, and it wasn't his imagination. Some viewers believe this could be the little person witnesses have been describing for years, a spirit manifesting in physical form. Others believe something far more disturbing, that there may actually be a living presence hiding beneath the jail, something that has adapted to the darkness, something that knows how to avoid being seen. At this point, Ian has a choice. He can leave knowing he's already captured something unexplained, or he can go further into the one place everyone warned him about. But Ian didn't come all this way to turn back now. Determined to finally uncover the truth, he slowly makes his way deeper into the basement, stepping toward the exact area where the figure had appeared only moments earlier, his light scanning the darkness while the silence around him feels heavier than before, like something is waiting for him to make the next move. Watch.
Oh god. Oh my god. It is so scary down here. Oh. I don't see anything over here. Creepy crawl space. I am not going in there. No. Little person? Are you in there? Oh, dude, what if it snatches my arm? I hear you. He's gotta be down here. Oh. Just got thrown at me. Oh.
Suddenly, rocks are thrown in his direction, and the timing makes it impossible to ignore because it happens right as he gets closer, almost like a direct response to his presence, like a warning meant to stop him from going any further. And that realization alone is enough to make him think that he may not be alone in that basement after all. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was recorded by Francisco, a man who works at the Gallup Indian Medical Center, a place known for late-night emergencies, long quiet hallways, and the kind of unexplained noises staff usually try not to think too much about. Things fall on their own sometimes. Doors close when no one's around, and workers have shared stories of hearing footsteps long after the wards are empty. And on this particular evening, Francisco had his own experience. He was the only person left at work around 5 p.m. when he started hearing things.
And I'm just recording because I don't know who it could be or anyone's here. It's just me here. It's like 5 o'clock and nobody's here and I'm the only one here ready to leave. Hello? 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 It's crazy because there's nobody here. Hello? 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 Where is it coming from? There's nobody. I don't know where that noise is coming from. Hello? Anybody here?
He kept walking from one section of the office to another, checking every corner, every hallway, but there was nothing. Yet the knocking continued, clear, deliberate. And according to some beliefs, when a knock happens 3 times, it's not always a person. Some say it's a way for a spirit to mimic human behavior. Others believe it's a warning or a way to get someone's attention. Unsettled and unable to shake the experience, Francisco went straight to the security unit to explain what had happened. But when they pulled up the feed, no one was there. Just Francisco, and whoever or whatever wanted him to know he wasn't alone. Now Francisco is left with one question. If this happens again, what's he supposed to do? Ignore it, confront it, or leave it completely alone? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. This next clip was captured around 3 a.m. by a family you might remember from a previous video on this channel, but let me give you a quick rundown so you're not lost. It all started on random nights when their daughter would suddenly wake up crying, and while they were trying to calm her down, they'd hear someone knocking on their front door. At first it seemed harmless, maybe a confused neighbor, maybe someone who had the wrong apartment, the kind of thing you brush off because you don't want to assume the worst. But it kept happening, night after night. Same soft knocking, same timing, and eventually curiosity got the best of them. One night, the father finally decided to check, and when he opened the door, there was a figure standing right outside. People who watched that first clip said the family made a huge mistake opening the door at that hour, because whatever that figure was, it's like something shifted after that moment. The knocking stopped, but other things started happening. Watch this.
Se están escuchando ruidos en la parte de abajo de la casa. Buenas noches. Buenas noches.
Hay una nueva mirada sobre los cuerpos, la edad, la identidad de género, el lujo.
¿Ya vieron el sillón?
Hice mi primer dieta a los 9 años. They all love me, but they want me to lose weight. Tienen como una propia cárcel. Tu taza cuando sacan todo. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Te animas a divertirte?
Desvestida, la moda pasó de moda. Todos los domingos, 10 de la
Se estaba moviendo, lo juro por Dios.
por Star Channel.
Cada vez se empeora más esto. ¿Quién anda ahí? Buenas. Estoy bastante preocupado, se escucha ahora ruidos ahí arriba. Sea lo que seas, no perteneces aquí. No sé qué quieras. Vete de aquí, por favor. ¿Quién diablos prendió la televisión? Esta tele también.
Now the TV turns on by itself at night, and the rocking chair in the living room moves on its own. Slow, steady, like someone invisible has settled into it and is gently rocking back and forth. Viewers believe whatever had been knocking might have slipped inside when the door opened, almost as if the opening itself acted like an invitation. Others think the presence had been waiting for acknowledgement, and that moment at the door was the confirmation it needed. And with the rocking, the electronics flickering and powering on, and the strange, heavy silence where the knocking used to be, a lot of people feel this might only be the beginning of something more intense in that house. But what do you think is happening here? And what exactly can a family do in a situation like this? They might just be reading the comments looking for answers. The following clip has sparked a debate among believers and skeptics, and it all centers on a woman named Sydney and her sister Gretchen, Gretch as she calls her, who rented an Airbnb for a wedding they had that weekend. Only a few minutes after settling in, Sydney stepped out to walk the dog, but when she came back inside, this is what she met.
Jesus Christ.
Great. Touch it. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
The curtain, the balloon, and the dog's leash that suddenly flung into the air on the staircase like someone yanked it upward. Skeptics immediately jumped in, insisting it was just the wind, or maybe the house settling, but others pushed back, pointing out how each object moved, almost as if something was interacting with them. Sydney and Gretch couldn't shake the feeling that something about this place was off, but it was only their first hour in the house, and leaving right away felt like they'd be overreacting. And besides, the dog seemed calm, which most people agreed was a sign there was nothing to worry about, but soon that would change.
Okay, so this is the leash. If this moves, I'm literally going to run. There she goes again. I don't think the leash is gonna move, but she's definitely sensing something. Every single day.
With the way the dog was reacting, there's definitely something on those stairs. It wasn't the curious kind of sniffing dogs do when they pick up a new scent. This was cautious, stiff, almost like he was bracing for whatever he sensed up there. And to make matters worse, one viewer commented that she actually recognized the Airbnb because of the carpet pattern, and claimed someone had died on those exact steps. Some believe that kind of energy can linger, attaching itself to the place and replaying moments of fear. Others think trauma can open a doorway, like the house becomes a magnet for things that don't belong in this world anymore. Sydney, determined to make sense of what was going on, began quietly looking around the house, checking corners and details she'd ignored when they first arrived. That's when she discovered something that might be the missing piece to their puzzle. Watch this.
Okay, so I think I figured out why my dog just is always hanging out right here. So I just found a door back here So I don't think that it's what's on the stairs. I think it's something that's underneath. So I tried to check, but the door is locked. Obviously it's an Airbnb, so they lock a lot of the doors up, but so yeah, I don't think that it's what's on the stairs like what I initially thought. I think it's what's below. I'm gonna find out at this point.
Now that they'd found a locked basement under the stairs, things finally began to add up. Sydney couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was happening on those steps, whatever her dog kept sensing and pacing around, was connected to whatever was sealed behind that door. It was almost like the dog was reacting to something moving underneath them, something it could feel but they couldn't. Curious and honestly a little desperate for answers, Sydney slid her phone under the door to see what might be inside. Watch this.
So this is the switch. You guys can see their light is on right there. I wonder if
Just, maybe there's someone right behind the door. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god, did that just happen?
The doorknob suddenly moved, like someone was trying to open it from the inside. At that point, the ladies were terrified, their thoughts going in every direction. At first, they tried to think logically. They even wondered if someone might actually be living down there because they'd experienced something similar at another Airbnb where the host was secretly double renting rooms. But when they checked the house again and found no one there, that theory fell apart, leaving them with something much more unsettling. After taking a moment to breathe and think through what just happened, the sisters decided to try again, this time hoping to catch whatever was turning the doorknob. But something even more terrifying happened. Have a look.
Scary. Okay. Okay, every time we've knocked before, this doorknob would turn a little bit.
Something yanked the phone straight out of Sydney's hand from the basement, and when the phone landed down there was no visible person in sight. Yet the phone kept moving, almost like it was being dragged or nudged by something just out of frame. Viewers started speculating immediately. Some thought someone was hiding in the shadows, others swore it looked like the phone was being pulled by an invisible force, the way objects shift during severe residual hauntings. They called the host, who eventually came over to unlock the basement so Sydney could retrieve her phone. But when he arrived, Sydney and her sister noticed something they couldn't ignore. Watch.
But there's no reason for me to go that way.
but I'm waiting to start hearing things from coming underneath my house. That's it. I'm out of here. The door. Okay, well, door two is creepy. Thank you.
The host had a tattoo of nested triangles on his right palm, and several viewers said they would bet anything that he knew more about that room than he was letting on. The symbol itself sent the comment section spiraling. Many viewers immediately recognized the symbol, saying it's associated with occult practices, protection marks, or rituals involving gateways or sealed rooms. The fact that this symbol was on his hand and the basement was locked under the stairs sent people into a frenzy. A few even suggested the tattoo might mean he tried sealing something in that basement, and that whatever it was might not be fully contained anymore. The situation worried a lot of people. Viewers kept asking for details, urging the sisters to leave the Airbnb immediately. Some even insisted they could get a refund if the host failed to disclose that someone else might also be renting the space. Eventually, Sydney responded with this update.
Okay, so I sent the video to the landlord of the Airbnb, and hold on, let me turn on the light. Okay, I sent the video to the landlord of the Airbnb asking, like, hey, is there someone else renting it out as well as us or what? Because there's a room under the stairs that we can't get into. It's locked, so I didn't know. And basically he was like, no, you guys are the only ones that are in the Airbnb right now, like booked out for the week. So okay, kind of feel relieved in a way, because I think it would be really weird and kind of creepy if there were people staying there as well that we didn't know about. But yeah, he didn't seem worried at all about it, so we'll see.
Now, Sydney is convinced they aren't dealing with a simple rental mishap. With the unexplained movement, the dog's behavior, the locked basement, the shaking doorknob, the phone being pulled, and the host's unsettling tattoo, it's getting harder and harder to deny that something else might be in that house. So what was in the basement? A spirit trying to get out? Or something trying very hard to keep others from getting in? You decide. The following video is about Nate, a man who still hasn't been able to figure out what exactly he's dealing with or how to stop it. Over time, the activity in his house has gone from unsettling to genuinely alarming. He's been waking up with unexplained scratches on his body and hears footsteps moving through the house when no one else is there. One morning, after finishing his workout and preparing breakfast, he started hearing a clicking sound. At first, he assumed it was the TV, maybe even the heat vent, but after listening more closely, he realized the sound was coming from the kitchen. It sounded exactly like a stove burner clicking, the noise it makes right before igniting. Concerned it could be a gas issue, Nate rushed into the kitchen to check, and that's when this happened. Watch.
The pan is still on the stove, still warm. All the burners are off. But I kept hearing the clicking, like the burner was trying to come on. Like I said, I just finished cooking. I was sitting there drinking my coffee, and I was hearing. And it sounded like it was... Go. Why with the knives? Why with the knives? Why? Why with the knives?
The clicking sound alone was disturbing, because this was the first time it had ever happened. But what really pushed viewers into panic was what followed, the knife. For the fact that this wasn't the first time, many believe this moment marks a shift in whatever Nate is dealing with. Paranormal researchers often say there's a difference between passive activity, noises, footsteps, shadows, and intentional aggression. Throwing objects, especially sharp ones, is widely considered a warning sign. And the most terrifying part is that Nate hasn't figured out what to do next. So, until more updates are given, this case remains completely unsolved. This next video was captured by a home security camera. Around 2 a.m., the homeowners received a motion alert and decided to check the footage, expecting maybe an animal or someone passing by. But what they saw left them shaken. Watch. The family replayed the clips several times, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. When they were unable to come up with a logical explanation, they shared the footage with a few of their neighbors, hoping someone might recognize the figure, or at least explain why it looked so disturbingly human. The video ended up spreading, and longtime residents of the area immediately knew who, or what, the figure resembled. According to locals, the apparition looks strikingly similar to a woman who died in a car accident near that very stretch of road back in 1948. For decades, people who've lived in the area have quietly shared stories about a woman seen walking late at night, appearing briefly, then vanishing without a sound. Some believe spirits tied to sudden deaths don't realize they're gone, repeating the same path night after night. Others think certain locations become imprinted with trauma, replaying fragments of the past like a broken recording. What makes this even more unsettling is that the family who captured this footage had only recently moved in. They had no knowledge of the area's history, no stories passed down, no warnings. So for now, all anyone can hope is that appearing and disappearing in the dead of night is all she ever does. Now, in this next clip, Kyle heads down to his basement early in the morning, and this time it's nothing like what he's dealt with before. In the past, it was children giggling, soft footsteps, the sound of something small moving around. But this morning, it's loud and violent. Watch.
Footsteps all freaking night. Who's knocking on my basement door? Lock. Okay, let's go back upstairs.
When the noise stopped, Kyle opened the door and found no one there. At first, he went for the simplest explanation. Maybe someone heard him coming and ran, maybe it was a prank, or maybe there's a logical reason he just hasn't thought of yet. But that theory falls apart almost immediately. Outside, the ground is covered in fresh snow. If anyone had been down there, child or adult, there should have been footprints leading away from the house, but there were none. Whatever was by the door didn't leave the way a physical person would, or maybe it didn't need to leave in the first place, because it's in the house just changing how it manifests. Some believe this suggests the activity is evolving because it once sounded playful, now it feels aggressive. For Kyle, this isn't just another strange moment to shrug off, it's another unanswered question in a situation that keeps escalating and becoming harder to explain. So until more updates are shared, this one remains unsolved. In this next video, a family says they've been tormented by relentless knocking late at night. Sometimes it's light, other times it turns into aggressive banging on the front door, loud enough to send the children into tears. The father has tried everything he knows, cleansing the house, daily prayers, asking for protection, and each time it works, but only temporarily. One night they woke up again, but this time it wasn't knocking that pulled them out of sleep. Listen closely.
Sí, pero... No. Pero no es... No, ya sabes que no es la niña, ya no va a ruido aquí. Ya sabes que no es la niña. Pues espérate. Está aquí afuera, ¿ah?
Sí, no habrá pasado algo.
No, tú tranquila, no pasó nada, es eso que nos habla. Pero no le voy a abrir. Voy a bajar. No mames, güey. Ah, cabrón. Miren, amigos, no hay nadie. Ya es de madrugada y mis hijos no están, se fueron a dormir con su abuela. No hay absolutamente nadie. Escuchan los ruidos. Uy. Escuche. Yo creo que ya no es hora de estar... Se escuchó aquí. Son casi las 2 de la madrugada. Ya les mostré. No hay absolutamente nadie. Ya está todo cerrado. Está todo cerrado y me voy.
What immediately unsettled viewers is that the voices being heard sound like a girl, yet the kids in the house who are old enough to speak weren't even home that night. But there's another detail people couldn't ignore. In the house is a Labubu doll. While Labubu is widely known as a collectible designer toy, online forums are filled with unsettling stories tied to it. Some owners claim their dolls move slightly when no one is around. Others report unexplained knocking, whispering, or a sudden shift in atmosphere after bringing one into their home. A few even say activity escalated after prayers or cleansing, a detail that eerily mirrors this family's experience. Skeptics argue the doll is just a coincidence, a harmless object becoming a focal point because fear needs something tangible to attach to. But others believe objects don't have to cause paranormal activity to become anchors for it, especially in homes where something already seems to be present. What makes this case disturbing is the pattern. The knocking stops after cleansing, then returns, the voices mimic children who aren't there, and whatever is happening doesn't seem driven away, just temporarily pushed back. So is the doll acting as a trigger? Or is this something entirely unrelated, using familiar sounds to provoke fear? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now, this next clip was recorded inside a retirement home, a building with a quiet but unsettling history. Long before it became a care facility, the property reportedly served as a private infirmary in the early 1900s, taking in patients who were considered too difficult for hospitals at the time. Several former staff members have claimed that deaths were frequent, poorly documented, and often handled during overnight hours to avoid upsetting residents. Over the years, rumors spread about certain rooms being avoided by night nurses, especially those on the upper floors. At around 3 a.m. one morning, this happened.
Oh, I know where that's at.
We have left God's past to follow our own. The sins of us all. I can't think of any better reason to do the next good thing today, so let's pass on. I'm Alex, and this reverse of the day. I'm positive, encouraging K-Love.
We work with a lot of dead people.
What makes this moment disturbing is where the man recording was standing. Before the radio started blaring, he was directly below the room and didn't hear a single footstep above him. So, who turned it on? At first, staff tried to brush it off as a one-time glitch, but about an hour later, it happened again.
Dude, no. 'Cause no. Dude, no.
Oh, hell no. It turned on again? You're lying.
And someone had to turn the dial all the way the other way for it to be doing this. I don't know what's going on.
Again this time, there were no signs of anyone entering or leaving the room. Months later, after a string of more subtle occurrences, doors found unlocked, lights switched on in empty rooms, the faint sound of movement in halls long after residents were asleep, the man experienced something far more unsettling. Listen closely.
I am hearing shit. And it sounds like me. Oh my god, this place. I don't think it's Caleb. Hello.
Different words can be heard clearly. Phrases like, "What are you doing?" And then, as he stood on the stairs, a voice saying, "She's coming." In places like retirement homes, where residents, nurses, and night staff move quietly through dim corridors, some believe spirits linger, attached to routines, rooms, or even specific people. So what's the case here? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. His next stop was the children's room, a space filled with old, unsettling dolls. The last time Ian was here, this section of the house left him more shaken than any other. This time, he carefully scanned the room, trying to see if anything or anyone was present.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Holy moly. I'm not alone. I am not alone in here. Okay, just calm down. Let's take a look.
What makes this moment especially disturbing is that just moments earlier, Ian had clearly seen the bear sitting completely still beneath the chair. As if that wasn't enough, just as Ian prepares to leave the room and move on to the next section of the house, something else happens.
Look in that room with the cursed painting again. I don't know.
Oh, what the? What the?
What the? That sounds like jiggling, like a doorknob. Who's in here? The hairs on my arm are standing on end right now. I literally heard like a jiggling sound. It sounded like a doorknob. I don't know. Was it this one? Did you just jiggle this doorknob? Maybe it was one of the dressers.
Oh my god. Okay, okay. I could hear it. It is coming from the closet. Look at that. That thing is moving. I can hear that clear as day.
Why are you jiggling that doorknob? Are you in the closet?
Just trying to keep my camera on it in case it moves. Look at it. Dude, it is moving. Do you hear that? Look at it.
Is there someone behind this?
There's gotta be someone. Look at that, dude. You can literally see it moving. Dude, the door is moving. Oh my god. Oh, jeez Louise. That door is shaking.
The closet doorknob began rattling violently on its own, as if someone was standing just on the other side, trying to get out. This wasn't the sound of settling wood or a loose latch. The movement was forceful. Children's rooms are often said to be hotspots in haunted locations, not because of the children themselves, but because spirits are believed to use toys and familiar objects to provoke attention or fear. And in this case, it feels less like playful activity and more like something reacting to Ian's presence. The question is, was whatever moved the bear the same thing trying to get out of that closet, or something else entirely? This investigation is far from over. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by Melhia Davis, a woman who is fully convinced that her house is haunted. For months, she's been dealing with things she just can't explain. Faint footsteps in the hallway long after everyone is asleep, doors clicking open in the early hours of the morning, and the feeling of being watched whenever she walks past her kids' rooms. One night, after putting her children to bed, this happened. Watch. First, she heard strange sounds coming from down the hallway. When she went to trace the noise, she saw the white door slowly closing on its own. Not long after, scratching sounds began coming from the walls, and before she could even process that, her TV suddenly turned itself on, without anyone touching the remote. She's burned camphor, she's tried cleansing her space with Palo Santo, and she's done everything people recommended to keep the energy calm. But nothing seems to be changing. Now, for the sake of her children, leaving is starting to feel like the only option left. Yet, many viewers insist that since nothing harmful has happened, the spirit might simply be seeking attention or trying to communicate. But is it really worth waiting until something does happen? What exactly do you think she's dealing with, and is moving out the right call or a rash decision? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In the following clip, a woman who has been dealing with what she believes is a mimic decided to sage her home, and for a while everything went quiet. No strange voices, no footsteps, no movement in the corners, just silence. Until one night, this happened. Watch this.
So she's back. The last time I made this video, people were saying that it's my double reflection. But I'm just gonna put up my hand here. Yeah, the sage has worn off.
Aside from the mimic-like reflection in the window, viewers pointed out something even more disturbing. Another figure lurking in the darkness. When she realized this, it added an entirely new mystery to her situation. She also mentioned something most people found chilling. Whenever she turns around, nothing is there. She only ever sees the mimic through window reflections, never directly. Some think that means this thing is tied to reflective surfaces, almost like it can only reveal itself when she isn't looking at it head on. Others believe it's intentionally avoiding being seen, which could mean it's growing more aware or more dangerous. But the detail that caused the biggest debate? The fact that she saged the house. Many viewers believe that if she was dealing with a mimic, saging may have been a mistake. Not because sage is bad, but because some entities don't flee from cleansing. They get agitated by it. A few even suggested that sage might have pushed the mimic deeper into hiding, making it harder to track and possibly attracting something else in the process. But I'll leave that part to you. Was saging the house helpful, or did it make things worse?